Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Wanderer's Kitchen Garden, this time in February. Thank you everybody for the views and comments on the previous video, it means a lot and I'm glad to be inspiring so many people to start growing their own vegetables and flowers. This episode is going to be quite a lot about sowing seeds and what seeds I'm sowing in February for the coming growing season. On this particular seed sowing session, you can see that I'm selecting my bell pepper seeds, my cos lettuce seeds, and the purple sprouting broccoli seeds. Two of which will be grown inside, and the broccoli will just be put into the top of the cold frame. Hopefully there it will be warm enough for those seeds to germinate. Here you can see that I've got the heater propagators out of my shed that I'll be honest I forgot I had, and I've got these out in an attempt to resurrect the aubergine and some onions that I planted early in January that don't seem to be doing anything. Stay tuned to the end of the video to find out if that resurrection actually worked or if I had to buy some more seeds. Now here I'm sowing the cos lettuce that will be grown indoors and the red bell peppers as well. That also will be grown indoors in one of the spare propagators. And now a little bit more of a manual task, and also a task that seems to be a continuous one in the garden, at least at the start of the season. I'm going to be laying some more wood chip down onto the paths between my raised beds to make it look a little bit better and also suppress the grass and the weeds around the raised beds to limit the amount of slugs, snails and other non-beneficial creepy crawlies. And what gardening video would be complete without paying a visit to the Gardener's Church, B&Q, which is at least the Gardener's Church in the UK. I did only come in here to get some antifungal spray for my avocado plants, but as many of you will know, you go in for one thing and end up coming out with 17 others, which I did. I came out with some new aubergine seeds and a smattering of flower seeds and some seed potatoes that I didn't have any intention of buying. But there you go, that's how they get you, isn't it? The having to buy new aubergine seeds probably tells you how the resurrection of the old aubergine seeds went. I also didn't have any intention really of buying marigolds or growing marigolds this year, but when you're in B&Q and they're there in front of you, sometimes you think, oh, I've got some space for them, but I have now had to find some space for them. I picked up some lobelia seeds as well because I did grow them last year partially successfully. I hope to make them more of a success this year, and I also picked up something called a treasure plant, which I've never grown before, but it does say that I can sow it in February, so I will be doing, and I'll sort of let you know or show you how it gets on. And here now I'm about to transplant or pot on my onions. They were starting to look a little bit kind of long and leggy. I don't know whether onions get leggy or if it's even a consideration you have to make, but some of them were starting to sort of droop and flop over, and I just thought, well, maybe they are ready to transplant on. So I mean that's what I'm doing anyway now. After doing this, they do look a little bit ropey at the moment. So please, if anybody knows whether I was supposed to do this or whether I'm just supposed to wait until March to plant out, sow some onion seeds in ground, yeah, please let me know, because I've no idea whether this has actually worked or not, this transplant. And now, as some of you may have guessed, the aubergine sort of resurrection didn't work. It turned out as well the soil I'd used was not very good soil, and it had started to smell in the heated propagator, so I don't think it was ever going to work. I think maybe the seeds had even rotted. So yeah, it was a good job that I bought some more aubergine seeds, and now I'm about to sow them. And here now I'm sowing some shallot seeds. As it's turned out over the last few months, I've used a lot of shallots in cooking, so it would be handy to have my own shallots in my own garden that I can just pick when I need them, especially because shallots in the supermarket are quite expensive. So if these work out, this will be a good money saving crop for me to grow. So fingers crossed. So now I'm going to sow some of the treasure flower that I found in B&Q the other day. And a little sort of handy money saving tip for you. I know I said I wasn't going to give any tips or advice, but this is an easy one. I know it looks like I eat a lot of moolah rice, and I do like them, but I've saved these pots because they make great little sort of seed starting pots, and you can get a lot for very little money. So why not save them and use them for your garden? And it's also a little bit of recycling as well for you. So yeah, anyway, starting off some treasure flower. As you can see, I've just arranged some more yogurt pots here to now sow some lobelia flowers. I did sow some lobelia last year and got kind of a middling amount of flowers from it, but they didn't really sort of do as well as I expected. So I'm hoping for a better kind of germination rate this year. And lobelia flowers are really nice. They're very scented, very good for butterflies, I think, or bees, one or the other. So yeah, should add a little bit of colour to my garden, especially the front garden, which is becoming more full by the day. And now comes the relatively big task of this video, and the task that requires a consistent amount of compost, a significant amount of compost at least as well, and that's planting the first potatoes of the year. These are obviously first early potatoes, called rockets, I believe, which are a Scottish variety, and I'm reliably informed by the packet from Wilco's that they can be planted in February. And at this point in the video, we are kind of around mid-February, so I'm hoping that, yes, there will still be some frosts, but they'll manage to withstand those frosts, perhaps, because they're a first early. Maybe they are used to certain temperatures. So, yeah, fingers crossed, I guess, for these potatoes, and let's get planting. And now a job that I've been waiting all winter to be able to do, and I feel like I can just do it now. Maybe I could wait until March, but I've got kind of itchy feet and I want to get it done. So it's refreshing the compost in these strawberry pots. So first of all, I dig out the old strawberries that I'm going to repot and clear out the old compost that is actually looking a little bit dry and a little bit rubbish, to be fair. And then, as you can see, I am taking out some of the old strawberries that are in the pots. I'm pretty sure, I don't remember because I was poor at labelling when I first started gardening. So I'm not really sure what actual type of varieties some of the strawberries are. I think, though, looking at the leaf shape and the sort of the lack of production, that some of them are what are called alpine strawberries, I think. The ones towards the bottom of the pot. And then the strawberry at the top of the pot is, I don't know, what I would call a normal strawberry. I don't really know. Is it ever-bearing, perhaps? The top one I actually bought from B&Q when it was already flowering and producing strawberries in the summer, I think, last year or the year before. Possibly the year before, because I know the top strawberry has about one more season left before its production sort of slows down. Apparently you sort of get 3 seasons from a strawberry, and I think the top one, I'm sort of coming to its last season, so I'll have to get a few more runners and propagate a few more runners from that one this season. The 2 other strawberries that are in the pots from the cold frame are the ones that I overwintered. They were propagations from the top strawberry, so they'll be going into the 2 higher up sections of the strawberry pot. So yeah, let's get on with that. And now we get to the part where we sow a few more seeds, which makes a difference in this video, doesn't it? So now we're going to be sowing some French and African marigold seeds. Like I said before, I didn't really have much intention of growing marigolds this season. I thought I could grow something a little bit different, like the treasure plant, for example. But then I did realise that they are quite good for tomatoes and, bringing pollinators into your garden to, pollinate your vegetables, giving you greater harvests. So I thought, why not? I've had trouble growing it in the past. It hasn't really worked. The French ones have, and they've sort of bloomed and looked really good and brought bees and other pollinators to the garden. But the African ones, I've never had that pop of yellow in the garden before. So if anybody knows of anything I can do to perhaps help the African marigolds, work, please let me know, because I'd love to have both the orange and the yellow all around the garden. So yeah, let's get to sowing. And of course, what garden would be complete without some sweet peas being grown? Again, like the marigolds, I wasn't actually that fussed on growing sweet peas this year because I grew them last year. They did quite well, but maybe I had them in the wrong place in the garden. I put them out in the front garden in a pot with sort of bamboo canes to climb up, and they worked, but I just, they didn't I didn't feel as though they were right. So again, maybe I had them in the wrong place. Maybe that was the problem. But yeah, I'm going to sow some sweet peas this season. Hopefully, fingers crossed, get a good germination rate and have sort of that sweet pea scent wafting around the garden. That'll be quite nice, won't it, in the summer? So again, let's get to sowing. And if we now look inside the heated propagator, we can see that some of my chili seeds and the marjoram seeds have sprouted. So before they get a little bit too leggy, let's repot them on. And here we are again with the recycled containers about to sow some Brussels sprouts. And I was always surprised when I first started growing Brussels sprouts how early you had to or were able to sow them, for Christmas. But they have such a long growing period that you do have to get them started in February. But that's good because it gives us gardeners something to actually sow and do, still in the winter. So we're not sat in our houses just twiddling our thumbs. We get to actually do something in February. So yeah, Brussels sprouts, here we go. So now here we are at the penultimate seeds to be sown in February, and we are starting with leeks. I sowed leeks last season, which were a massive failure. I think simply because I didn't give them enough space to actually grow and kind of size up. I essentially didn't thin them off. So this year I am going to respect the space that I have and plant just the amount of leeks that I know I can grow and grow well in the space that I have. The leeks will be planted alongside the parsnips, which I'm also going to sow now in this video in February. I am told that I can sow parsnips now towards the end of February, so that's what I'm going to do at the end of this video. I'm going to be sowing some tomatoes now that are going to be grown indoors on the windowsill. I'm growing a cherry tomato called Tom Thumb. I'm growing what I would call a normal tomato, I don't know what else you would call it, please let me know, called Moneymaker. I believe that's a variety of tomato that a lot of people grow, a lot of allotmenteers and gardeners like Moneymaker, I think. And I'm also growing a variety that I haven't successfully grown before, and that is a beefsteak tomato. This particular variety is called, I believe, Marmande, but I've probably butchered that pronunciation. So yeah, we'll get into the last little bit of seed sowing for this episode. And now on to the final tasks of the episode. I have to relocate a trellis that I'm going to use this season to grow my climbing beans up. And I need to build a garden obelisk for my summer fruiting raspberries to climb up, because as you saw from the last episode, I moved my raspberries in ground, which means now they need kind of a better climbing support structure than the old trellis that they were climbing up before. When I was actually building the garden obelisk for the raspberries, my cat decided to do a lot of helpings, which didn't actually help. As you can see, she sat on the instructions, but I got there eventually. And finally, so one of the targets I've set myself for this growing season is to be a little bit more organised in the garden and plan out my sowing and growing a little bit more. And so with the help of Emma's Allotment Diaries, who has created this handy garden planner, garden allotment planner, hashtag not spawn, I'm going to use this to be a little bit more organised in my garden and sort of plan out what I am going to grow and sow. But yeah, if you made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching. I hope I've inspired you to get out into your own green spaces and start growing your own vegetables and flowers. But this has been February in the Wanderer's Kitchen Garden. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next month.